Hello, and welcome back to another Chris McPherson Show Daily Dose. It's time to talk some more Australian Open as we build our way into week one of the Australian Open, day two, all but in the books. We're into the night session as we record on Monday evening, and there's certainly plenty to unpack from what we've seen so far in the tournament, and we're looking forward to doing that as well as having a look ahead to day three and some great Aussie matchups, some matches not to miss, and of course a recap of the seeds that have fallen and the Aussie matches that have occurred so far on day two. If you haven't already, make sure to hit like on the video. Get involved in the comments. Let us know who you're really looking out for, who you think might make a bit of a run. And hit subscribe to keep up to date with all of our Australian Open updates, as well as plenty more across your world of sport. And if you want some snippets as well, just to keep you up with the short, the sharp takes on it, you can follow us along on our social media channels at The Chris Mack Show on Instagram, X, TikTok, and Facebook. Plenty of content across all those platforms, some more than others, but follow along and keep up to date. But let's start with the seeds that fell earlier today. And the first one, I don't want to gloat too much, but Arthur Rinderknecht defeated by Fabian Marazan, the 24th seed, going down in 4 sets. Exactly as predicted here on the show yesterday, so it does prove every now and then we get one right. It was a good win for Marazan. The Hungarian moves through to the second round. Arthur Rinderknecht, a highly touted youngster, back to the drawing board for him. Another highly touted youngster that bombed out was Felix Auger-Aliassime, the 7th seed. We thought that he would be an absolute moral to get past Nuno Borges, but after 3 sets, he had to retire. Severe cramping for the Canadian, and he couldn't continue on. He said afterwards he couldn't understand why, and he'd never felt cramping like this, let alone this early in a match or a tournament before. Had him really rattled. Hence the walkover results. Unfortunately, that is the end of Felix Auger-Aliassime, who I had tipped as one of my dark horses to make a bit of a run here. Does open it up for Daniil Medvedev and Alex Zverev to go toe-to-toe as we get towards the pointy end of the tournament, though. Also going out, Sophia Kenin, the 27th seed. She was defeated by Peyton Stearns, her countrywoman from America, in straight sets. Stearns, we know, can be an absolute handful and absolutely was for Sophia Kenin, which is disappointing to see. Emma Navarro, the 15th seed, she was up inside the top 10 last year, and she went out to the Polish player Magda Linette, a fairly robust and strong player who's a dangerous opponent to draw early in the rounds, as Navarro found out the hard way. Linette getting this done 3-6, 6-3, 6-3, coming back from a set down and getting it done. In terms of other matches, there was plenty of other action going on, but it's probably time to shift to our Aussie Watch. And we had, let's start with Petra Hon, who came back from a set down to be well and truly on top against Canadian qualifier Marina Stakusic in 3. She led 1-6, 6-4, 5-3 when Stakusic retired. So she was well on her way to securing a win, but got the walkover, so saves the legs a little bit. A big talking point, Storm Hunter, with a huge win over Jessica Buzas-Minero. This is one that I got wrong yesterday. I thought that Buzas-Minero would be too experienced and too fresh to take down Storm Hunter. But Storm, 6-4, 6-4, her first slim win in 2 years after coming back from a horrific Achilles injury. It was wonderful to see her leading the chance of Aussie, oi, 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 at the arena after this match, and wonderful to see her advancing to the second round. An Aussie who won't be advancing to the second round is Emerson Jones, the young 17-year-old, lost to the 17th seed, the 19-year-old from Canada, Victoria Mboko. A tight first set, 6-4. Jones held her own plenty of occasions, but then the experience and physical maturity of Mboko shone through in the second set, 6-1. So she wraps that in straight sets. Speaking of disappointment, Alex Vukic. We were expecting him to really give it to Thiago Tarante, but after a first set that Tarante won 7-5, Vukic just faded away, and Tarante sealed it 6-2, 6-2 in the second and third. So an Aussie male going by the wayside there. Alex de Minaur, though, no such problems up against Mackenzie McDonald. 2, 2, and 3, waltzing through to the second round. Exactly what we needed to see from the Demon. Great, strong performance for him. And Jordan Thompson, nice and fit and healthy. He closed it out well after a tight fight in the first 2 sets against Juan Manuel Cerundolo. Thompson's serve was absolutely on early. 6-7, 7-5, 6-1, 6-1. So absolutely clinical from him. So really loving what Jordan's popped up there. In terms of other matches, though, there's still some matches in play tonight and to play tonight. Alexei Popyrin will be later on tonight against Alexandra Muller. We've got Rinky Hijikata already a set up in play. Obviously, that will be very out of date by the time we release this against Adrian Manarino. So just keeping an eye on both of those. Isla Tomljanovic is in a third set against Stara Dubtseva from the Ukraine, and she's up a break there. So hopefully she can carry on with that and mark her way through to the second round, but we'll know with time. A lot of the night session matches, as I said, underway. A lot of the day sessions wrapping up on the outside courts. So certainly really looking forward to seeing what comes of all of that. But as I said, plenty of action still to come, and there'll be some Aussies in action tomorrow, which we'll talk about in a moment as well as we start to look to our day 3 preview. And let's move that tact and go that way now. And let's talk about Maya Joint, the 31st ranked Australian. Will take the John Cain Arena tomorrow morning to take on the 54th ranked Teresa Valentova. These two have not gone toe-to-toe before, but both have had some tennis action already this year. Valentova had to qualify at Adelaide, got through to the second round where she ended up losing out to the defending Australian Open champion, Madison Keys. Joint, likewise, was in Adelaide. She got to the quarterfinals there where she was fairly comprehensively beaten in the end by eventual title winner Mira Andreeva, 6-2, 6-love, after a walkover against Isla Tomljanovic and knocking out Sophia Kenin in the first round. She also played in the United Cup there where results didn't quite go her way against Barbora Krejcikova and Iga Swiatek. But it is back at the drawing board, Maya Joint. Can she live up to her seeding? Her first time as a seeded player in a Grand Slam. I'm going to go Joint to win this one in 3. 2 youngsters going toe-to-toe. Valentova is going to be a player on the rise. She's got 7 ITF titles already to her name. A little younger than Maya Joint, but certainly a name to watch emerging here, young Teresa Valentova on John Cain Arena tomorrow. Next up, let's go to the All-Australian clash. Madison Inglis up against Kimberly Birrell. This is an interesting one. Birrell was a direct entrant ranked 76th in the world. Inglis having to work her way coming in through qualifying. Again, having to beat Tamara Korpatch in the final round of qualifying, which was a good victory for her. But the thing is, these two very familiar with each other. They've played 7 times in total, 6 times on hard court, once on grass, and Birrell has the upper hand here. And I think that's the way this one will play out. The 27-year-old Kim Birrell. I think this will be a great clash. And I'm going to go Birrell to win this one in 3 sets. The one great thing out of this is we are guaranteed an Australian into the next round. Next up, we've got Shui Zhang coming up against Taylor Preston. Shui Zhang has been ranked up as high as 22 in the world, 23 ITF titles, 3 main tour titles as well. Plenty of experience at 36. She's ranked 75th in the world. Taylor Preston, currently 161, only 20 years of age, a high of 134, but a gulf in difference, I guess, in terms of experience here. She's got the wild card coming in, Preston. She had a good run in Hobart. She beat Buzas Manera, Sramkova, and Raducanu before losing to Iva Jovic, another young star. But the one thing that you know, she lost to Zhang the one time they've clashed in qualifying in Brisbane this year. So that's the big thing for me. Zhang with recent form on the board, much more experience. I think Zhang gets this done in straight sets. Unfortunately for Taylor Preston, I'll be happy to be proven wrong. And the final of the Aussie women in action tomorrow. The newest minted. I'll get there eventually. I am absolutely tongue-tied tonight. Daria Kasatkina up against Czech Nikola Bartenkova. These two have not clashed before. Kasatkina has been as high as number 8 in the world. She slid from there. She had a tough year last year, took a bit of a sabbatical. Hasn't got off to a flying start this year. She did get a win over Maria Sakkari in Adelaide, but has also lost to Jacqueline Christian there in the second round. For Bartenkova, she has gone through qualifying here and is certainly building her way up, including a 6-1, 6-love victory in her final round of qualifying to get through here. But if Kasatkina is to be taking this seriously in this return to tennis and making that resurgence and trying to push back towards the seedings, she needs to get the W here, and I think she will do. I think she'll get it done in straight sets. I think her power and experience will be a little too much for Bartenkova, who's already spent nearly 3 hours and 40 minutes on the Melbourne courts. So let's see Kasatkina march her way through to the second round here. Moving on to the men, and Dane Sweeney has a big task ahead of him. The man who's ranked 182 in the world, just below his original high of 181. He comes up against Gael Monfils, and this is going to be an interesting one. Monfils, 39 years of age, all the experience in the world, won a title early last year. He is ranked 110 at the moment. He has been as high as number 6 in the world. We know that, absolutely full of experience. Monfils, just the one match so far this year where he lost to Fabian Marozsan, that man that we talked about yesterday, in 3 sets over in Auckland. While for Sweeney, he got knocked out after qualifying through beating Jacob Fernley and Chris O'Connell in Brisbane by Riley Opelka, and then has worked his way through qualifying here, beating Andrea Pellegrino in 3, Jerome Kim in 2 from Switzerland, and then Stefano Travaglia of Italy in 2 tie-breaks. So plenty of miles in the legs for him. He's built a pretty good season so far, but he's also played a lot of tennis. I'm going to go Gael Monfils to get this done in 4. I think he'll just be too experienced. If Sweeney can come out of the blocks really well, I can see him getting it done in 4. But the longer this drags on, I think it also benefits the experience and seasoned tennis of Gael Monfils. So it'd be wonderful to see, but I just don't see Sweeney really getting past him unless he can, get out hard, stave off a resistance, and then get home. So we're going to go Monfils in 4. And speaking of Aussie men's tennis players, the final one for this day of action is James Duckworth up against Dino Prismic. Duckworth has been inside the top 50. He's drifted down towards the 90s now. Prismic has come in as a lucky loser. Look, Duckworth will be understandably favourite for this. If he can play his best tennis, he can blow him off the court. Looking forward to seeing what Duckworth can do. He's only ever made it to the second round here at the Australian Open. As for Prismic, his only second appearance in the first round at the Australian Open. So I'm going to go Duckworth to get this one done in 4 sets. Prismic will be energetic and go after him, but this will be the first time the two of them clash. So let's go to Duckworth, getting it done and getting through to the second round, adding to our Aussie contingent. Now it's time to move on to the matches that you must watch. And let's talk about, she's an honorary Aussie, Katie Boulter, coming up against Belinda Bencic. Bencic has been as high as number 4 in the world. Boulter as high as 23. Now it's 10 in Bencic to 113 in Boulter. The two have only played just the once before on indoor hard courts back in 2022 in Estonia. Not a lot I'm going to be taking from that. Bencic, a much stronger hard court record. Boulter, unsurprisingly for a Brit, predominantly suited to the grass, plays well on the indoor hard courts. The hard courts, she's had some up and down seasons, including a losing season last year. She got knocked out by Elina Svitolina in the second round in Auckland, while obviously we know Belinda Bencic went all the way through to the final with Switzerland and Sand Wawrinka at the United Cup, where she managed to beat Iga Swiatek in the final. She went on a really strong run. She's in great form, hasn't lost a match this year. And look, I think she's a danger to really move up the rankings, as we shared on our Instagram the other day. So I've got Bencic winning this one in straight sets, unfortunately, for Katie Boulter. It isn't to be heading into the second round. Let's go on to now Sloane Stephens up against Karolina Pliskova. Now, Pliskova's been ranked as high as 1, Stephens as high as 3. Both absolutely dominant at their best. Both well behind that now, I think it's fair to say. So looking at where they sit now, they are well down the rankings. But, again, it's an interesting one. Obviously, Stephens worked her way through in qualifying, beating Olivia Gadecki from Australia, Lucia Bronzetti as well. But these guys, they haven't played since 2024. They've played plenty of times across their career, though, but it's a 6-1 advantage to Sloane Stephens. I'd love to see a resurgence of Pliskova, but I think Stephens gets this one done. I think it'll be straight sets, to be fair. Sloane Stephens to get this done. Maybe something like 4-3. I don't think it'll be a blowout, but I think Sloane Stephens tomorrow will get this one done on the Kia Arena. Next up, heading to the 1573 Arena, and we've got Ludmila Samsonova, the 18th seed, up against the tricky and experienced Laura Siegman, ranked 48 in the world now at 37 years of age. Siegman has only had one hit out so far this year, where she was knocked out of qualifying at Adelaide by Vera Zvonareva, while for Samsonova, she knocked out Emerson Jones and Alexandra Sasnovich in Brisbane before going down to Jessica Pegula and then losing to Marketa Vondrousha in the first round in Adelaide. So, look, some mixed pieces here. The head-to-head is 2-2. They've played 3 times on hard courts, including playing at the Adelaide International last year. 2 years ago in 2024, where Siegman got the W. And Siegmund's got the last 2 wins in 2023 and 2024. So I'm actually going to tip Siegmund for an upset here. I'm going to go Laura Siegmund to win this one in 3 sets and get it done against Lyudmila Samsonova and send another seed marching out in the first round. It's time to move on to the men's tennis now. Let's talk Zizou Bergs up against Hubie Hurkacz. Now, these are 2 players with pretty high ceilings, I think, both in the mid-20s. Hurkacz has been inside that top 10. He's been as high as 6 in the world. Bergs is pushing up towards his best ranking. He's been at 39. He's currently at 43. Surprisingly, these 2 have never played before, but both have got decent records behind them so far this year. We've seen that Bergs was playing for Belgium in the United Cup, and Hurkacz was playing for Poland, where they made the final, and he got the win over Stan Wawrinka. He also beat Taylor Fritz. He lost to Alex de Minaur, but beat Alex Zverev and Talon Griekspoor. So a really solid record for him. He's in some pretty good form. But I think Bergs, it's fair to say, is as well. He lost to Zhang Xinzhen, but beat Felix Auger-Aliassime, beat Jakob Mensik, and beat Stan Wawrinka. So not a lot between these 2. I'm going to lean to the slight more experience of Hubert Hurkacz, 9 major tour titles at 28. And I'm going to go Hubert Hurkacz to get this one done in straight sets. Might drift to 4, but he needs to get it done in 3 or 4 if he wants to make a bit of a run. And this one, looking forward to seeing it tomorrow afternoon on ANZ Arena. Speaking of some dark horses and big matches, we've got a top 10 player up against a man just outside the seedings on Rod Laver Arena tomorrow afternoon. Ben Shelton up against Hugo Humbert. This is a tough clash for Shelton. Shelton 1-1 on the year. Beat Comisano before losing to Bayers in Auckland. While for Humbert, he made it all the way through to the final in Adelaide against Thomas Mahatch. He beat Davidovich Fokina, Alexander Shevchenko, Talon Griekspoor at Maine. So he's in some form, but how heavy are those legs going to be? Shelton should get this done, but Humbert can very much drag him deep and long. That'll be the challenge for the young American. I'm going to go Ben Shelton to win this one in 4 sets. I think Humbert comes out of the blocks well, goes toe-to-toe, maybe a tie-break in the first set. Humbert wins the second, and then Shelton closes it out in 3 and 4 on RLA. Next up, Karen Khachanov up against Alex Michelsen, another seeded player coming up against another player just outside the seedings. This should be an absolute cracker. Looking forward to this. They've played twice before, the Russian and the American. So both times in 2025, including here at the Australian Open last year in the 3rd round, where Michelsen got the job done. 6-3, 7-6, 6-2. Khachanov got revenge in Toronto on the hard court, 6-4, 7-6. Interesting one, this one. As I said, Khachanov, not a lot of tennis behind him. He bombed out in the 2nd round of Hong Kong to Michael Mmoh, whereas for Michelsen, played all the way through, got through to the semi-finals in Brisbane, where he lost to the eventual champion in Daniel Medvedev, beating Seb Korda, Lerner Tien, and James Duckworth. He then got knocked out in the 2nd round of Auckland against Marcus Giron, his countryman. I actually think Michelsen's quite a chance here. Yes, I know Khachanov's a strong player, but he's also mercurial and inconsistent. I'm going to go Alex Michelsen to win this one in 5 sets against Karen Khachanov. And again, tipping another seed to go begging. And the final one, Thomas Mahatch up against Grigor Dimitrov. Now, we know Mahatch coming off that win to start the season in Adelaide, where he beat Hugo Humbert after beating Tommy Paul, James Duckworth on the way through. While on the other side, we've got Dimitrov, who's had some hit-outs getting it done against Pablo Carreno Busta, but losing to Rafael Collignon. So an interesting one. They've only ever played once before, back in October 2024 on indoor hardcourt, and Mahatch got the job done. Interesting, Dimitrov was a seeded player at that point. So it's an interesting one. These two will go toe-to-toe. There's plenty of tennis in it. If Dimitrov can find that form that he had at Wimbledon, he can absolutely take it to Mahatch. And look, I think the Dimitrov matches up well here with Thomas Mahatch, and I'm actually going to tip Dimitrov to win this in 4 sets. Looking forward to seeing all of this tennis. So much to pick apart. We'll be back again tomorrow. If you enjoyed the predictions, remember, we got a couple right yesterday, a couple of decent ones too, especially if you were having a wager. But make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, even hit that bell notification down below. Get in the comments, let us know which ones have we got wrong, which ones are we off the mark on. We certainly love hearing your feedback at all times here. But yeah, hit subscribe. And we look forward to seeing you back again tomorrow. There'll be plenty more tennis, cricket, and plenty of other content dropping over the next couple of days. But until next time, a big thanks to you for tuning in to your home of the Black and White of Sports. No grey opinions here.